Welcome back to a new episode of The Good Talk. Today we have Cristina Maria Florez in studio. Welcome to the studio, Cristina.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. What do you think of the studio?
It's beautiful.
Yeah?
Very
Awesome.
versatile, very warm. We have a fireplace in the corner.
Yes, we do. We have a fake fireplace, which is really nice, actually. So, Cristina, thanks for coming again. And tell me a little bit more about you. Give us a little bit of your background to start off with. And then that way the audience gets some context of who you are and where you're from.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'll start by saying that the reason why I'm here, why I'm in LA, is because I love dance. I always tell people that was like my gateway drug into the arts and what made me pursue entertainment in general. I was born in the Bronx and I grew up in Arizona. And I only throw that in to be cool because people don't get as hype about Arizona, even though Arizona is super cool. But I moved to LA about 8 years ago. And it was after a 5-year journey in college. I did nutrition, psychology, biochemistry, and I didn't really know what it is that I wanted to major in. I didn't know that I wanted to move to LA. I didn't know anything about the dance industry at all, but I followed my body's excitement towards what I felt pulled to. And dance was something that I've always felt excited about, always wanted to do more of. And I came out here for a performance and I was looking around and I was like, I think I'm as good as these people around me. And that is what led me to say, okay, I think in 5 months when I graduate, like that's where I'm going to go.
So born in the Bronx.
Yes.
Super cool.
Yes.
Yeah. And then raised in Arizona.
My Bronx friends get really mad at me when I say that. Yeah.
You're like, you don't even live here anymore.
Uh-huh.
But then how old were you when you moved to Arizona?
Like 1.
Oh my God. So you really do say born in the
Yes,
Bronx.
I still claim it. Yes. Because I feel it. Like
Yeah.
I feel it
You
in my
feel it?
body. Yeah.
And then, so what's your ethnicity? What's your background in that?
I'm Colombian and Puerto Rican and a little bit white. Yeah.
And a little bit of
A
white.
little bit white. My dad's full colombiano, and then my mom is half Puerto Rican and half white.
So you speak Spanish?
Un poquito.
Un
Estoy
poquito?
practicando. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So un poquito.
Mhm.
Okay. Muy bien. So you're from the Bronx.
Yes. I was born there.
Born in the Bronx. Got
So
you.
I can still claim it.
Yeah. And then raised in Arizona. And then when did you first visit LA?
I went to California many times growing up. I always loved the trees. I loved the ocean here, but
Growing up?
Yes.
Okay.
Growing up. We
Yeah.
would come here for summer vacations and things like that.
And
Yeah.
you never thought that you'd end up moving here?
Never.
Yeah.
Never had the
same thing
thought.
for me. Yeah. I would visit California as a kid, Disneyland and stuff, but never thought I would move here until it actually happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the way that I felt. And I didn't know who I was going to move with, or I was like, oh, I think I want to be a dancer, but no idea what that truly meant and what it entailed.
So dancing, when did you get into dancing?
I was like 3 years old.
Oh, wow. So you
Yeah.
were just a little baby.
Yeah.
And then do you remember that, like getting into dancing at 3? Like what, was there something you saw that you're like, I kind of want to do this?
I remember I really loved the feeling of being watched. I liked being the center of attention as a kid.
Okay.
It was a big ham, and I loved music. And from what my parents tell me, I was always singing and dancing and enjoying just that connection with music. And so they put me in a ballet tap combo class, very bored in ballet. I actually had a lot more fun in gymnastics. And then I ended up moving to a different city within Arizona when I was 7 years old. And I had a gap of time that we didn't have the money for dance, but I came back to it. And I really fell in love when I came back it was a different connection. I had a different understanding because I took hip hop for the first time. And it was a Beyonce song. And I was like, oh, this is what I need to be around. Like I felt very called to dance in that moment.
And how old are you then?
11.
11. So
Yes.
that's I feel like that's probably when you realized
Yeah.
the most.
Yeah. I loved the energy in the room. I loved the way that I felt. And I thought that I did great. My mom watched the class and she was like, you have a lot of work to do. And she was always very honest with me growing up as to, when and where I could improve. And so, I felt challenged by dance as well. Made a
Okay.
lot of friends.
So
in
11
dance.
years old, you figured this out. You're like, man, this is kind of what I want to do.
Yes.
And then you started pursuing it since then?
Yeah. So I was in classes all the time, performing all the time, realized I really liked choreography and I liked the authority that I could have.
You as a choreographer.
Yes.
Okay. To
When-
teach people.
To create the moves,
To
to
create-
create the
right,
moves and
right.
create the vision, create the vision for what I wanted on stage. And I would always include a lot of people. So the drummers that were there at the school, people who were in the band, including different people within the community that weren't just dancers into my pieces. And even though I wasn't always the best dancer in the room, that's kind of always been the case. I always felt like my vision was picked out from others. People
Okay.
remembered me for what I created.
Nice. So then you moved to LA 2016?
Yeah. So 2016. So I went to college.
Where did you go to
Still-
college? In Arizona?
Yes.
Where?
U of A.
Okay.
So,
No, keep going.
yeah, U of A. I went there for nutrition. I, again, didn't know what I wanted to major in. I didn't feel called to anything in particular. I knew I liked to write. I knew I liked to dance, and dance kept coming back into my life. I was teaching everywhere. I ended up being the president of my hip hop team in my college. And I also was the president of another student-led initiative called Body Smart, which was all about body positivity. So I feel like moving here, I got to fuse those two passions together.
Okay. So you moved out here specifically for dancing?
Yes.
Did you have a job? Like, what was your logistics? Like, how did you move out here? Like, what were your plans?
So I didn't have any plans. I had a roommate and I had an apartment.
So you had a place to live in?
I had a place to
Okay.
live. I had a place to live. And I actually worked at a bagel shop. That was my first job here. So I was fully educated. I had like this degree that sounded really fancy with psychology and biochemistry, working at a bagel shop. Then I started catering. Then I started hosting. I'd never worked in the food industry at all. And that was my introduction to it because that was, where I could find jobs where I could still audition and still be a part of workshops and be a part of the mix.
Wow. So bagel shop.
Yeah.
And then while dancing on the side.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then, but the goal was to find a studio where you can teach maybe, or what was the goal as far as dance goes?
So I think initially when I came here, what I felt attracted to was being on stage. I thought, okay, maybe I'll go on tour. Maybe I'll be a backup dancer. Maybe I will be a part of music videos. I didn't really know specifically. I just knew that I felt excited by dance. I knew that I had a presence and that when I would go into these dance communities, that I had good feedback from people. And very quickly realized it didn't really interest me to be a backup dancer or to be a part of
You want to be the center of attention,
that or the creator of the vision. It was more appealing to be a choreographer or to do something like, I realized also had mentioned to you, I had 2 knee surgeries back to back, 2018 and 2019. So that kind of threw me for a
From
loop.
dancing?
Yes. Dancing. I was teaching actually. So I was teaching. I started to teach because that's always come naturally to me. I've been teaching since I was 18 years old. And I was teaching a class in heels, pop locked and drop it like really low. And I had a snap. I completely tore my lateral meniscus all the way around. And I had basically a full year that I was dealing with that, but 6 months where I specifically like really couldn't dance. I was in a wheelchair,
Man.
needed help going to the bathroom.
Yeah, I can't even imagine that. That's because that's like your dream to like be a dancer, and then something like that happens. How did you overcome that?
I had to rebuild my confidence from the ground up. I did not feel sexy anymore. I did not feel like I had the identity that I always had. And I had to find other things that defined me other than being a dancer. So in comes acting, in comes spoken word, in comes all of these different communities and spaces that I'd never really allowed myself time in that still allowed me to tell stories, that still allowed me to entertain, that still allowed me to feel fueled as an artist.
Mm.
And I had to rebuild who I was again. And I truly think that happened for me because it pushed me in a direction that I wasn't giving space for before.
Yeah, it sounds like you discovered a new part of yourself to keep yourself going. But but you said you had back-to-back surgeries.
Yeah. So I healed.
Uh-huh.
I could do everything I used to do. I was starting to take dance classes again, and I re-injured it.
Same one?
Yes, same one. Not as bad the second time, but I still had to go and get surgery. And so I was like, okay, all right. I get it. Like, I need to continue to expand as a human being. And I knew then that I didn't want to count on the longevity of my body to be that main source of inspiration, main source of income, for that to be the sole place where I was going for my career.
Wow. So how long did it take you for both injuries to heal up completely to where you were back dancing?
So that next one was a 3-month recovery after the surgery. And then I was up and running again. So it wasn't as extensive. So it was a total of 9 months. But there was more time before that leading up to it where I was dealing with it. Yeah.
For sure. Okay. Wow. So going back to dancing, what kind of dancing do you do? Or are you a teacher now? Or what do you do now?
Yes. So now that has really led me to movement direction and movement coaching. I found that most of the spaces that I went into, I didn't feel like I was getting my whole heart and soul filled from the community. And I had to seek very, with a lot of precision to find the spaces where I like really felt seen, where I could dance and really feel like I was valued and respected. And so I wanted to create those spaces and to give women a chance, specifically women, to be able to move and find that connection with their bodies. So that's when I started Conquer Your Sexy. And it allowed me to fuse that psychology and nutrition background with dance because I find that many women want to dance and they just think that it's not something that's accessible to them because they haven't had training, or maybe they used to be a dancer and they're like, oh, I don't do that anymore. And I think that a lot of confidence comes from being connected to your body in that way.
Tell me more about confidence, or what's your...
Conquer Your Sexy.
My bad. Conquer Your Sexy. Is that your business? Is that...
Yes.
Okay, and that's...
So I call it a movement because a business I find feels stressful. It feels like a job. Now it's my movement, and it's all about helping women find their sexy and redefining that for themselves.
And you're also a confidence mentor. So you're all about confidence and movement and just feeling good about yourself, right? Where do you get your confidence from?
My confidence. So I find that confidence lives on a spectrum, and it is not the same all the time. And, like I told you, when I had my knee surgeries, I was like, oh, I've always been this really confident, outgoing person. I've always felt really good about my body and felt really sexy through dance specifically. And I had to find another way to identify with confidence. And for me, true confidence comes from being the best version of myself every single day. And that best changes all of the time. And I also believe that confidence just comes in owning everything that you are, being completely authentic to who you are in that moment, and also being willing to change your mind and own that as well.
Okay. So what is confidence to you? I want to get into this confidence topic a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because being confident comes in many different shapes and forms, right? Like to you, is being sexy and showing off skin, is that being confident to you for women?
I think it can be. I think it can be that. A lot of times people think, okay, when I do my hair, that's me being confident. When I put on a really sexy outfit, and I think those things are amazing. I think those things are very powerful. But what I think what's truly transformational, and what I find that people come to me for, is they think that they need confidence in order to tackle their wildest dreams. They think that they need confidence in order to do things. And I think it's actually the reverse. I think that when you move in a way with dance or just in your life, when you take that first step, then you build the confidence to actually be that person who you say that you want to be.
Got you. Do you think girls that, for example, have like maybe OnlyFans or just very maybe promiscuous girls, do you think that that's confident, or that's just kind of maybe a lack of confidence because they kind of feel like they have to show off, their body to get that attention?
That's a good question. I think it depends. I think it varies. I think promiscuity can be amazing, wonderful, and beautiful. And I wouldn't know until I sat down with that woman what it is that they truly feel about themselves. And even then, it probably varies within that person. But I've spoken to people who are in the sex industry and who do sex work, who are, in burlesque, or maybe they work at a club and they dance. And there's so much variation and confidence within that space. So I don't want to like blanket statement.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I was just curious because, that we have a lot of that going on now with like OnlyFans and all that. I myself used to work at Playboy as well. So I've seen a lot of that. I was like in that whole industry for a long time. So yeah, I'm just, your confidence, but I just feel like a lot of these girls aren't really as confident as you are, because you're super confident. Like I feel that confidence, right? So I was just wondering your thoughts on that, of like some of these girls just showing off everything. Like, is that confidence or is that a lack of confidence, right? But yeah. Thank you. So what advice would you give to, let's say, a shy woman, someone who's very shy, who's not very comfortable with their body? How do they come to be comfortable enough with their body to have that confidence?
That's such a great question, because I actually have so many self-proclaimed shy girls who come to me and want to work with me. And they're like, I want your confidence. And I think a couple of things. So first of all, I don't think that shy and confident live in two different worlds. I think you can be both. And I think it's, again, about owning what makes you feel energized. I'm a very big energy follower. So if you feel more energized by one-on-one interactions and you want to walk away from the crowd, like, own that. You can be a shy, confident girl, and you don't need to show your body in order to show your confidence. I love that. I love showing my body. I love dancing in a more sensual, sexual fashion. But it also depends on the day, So I think people should follow what comes natural to them and put themselves in different situations and see, like, am I closed? Am I open? And is that how I want to feel? And if that's not how I want to feel, what do I need to do in order to then open myself up to that? And usually it's just practice. It's just practice of putting yourself in that situation.
How would you practice, like, to get that confidence?
Put yourself
in situations that maybe that you're not really comfortable with, like maybe doing stand-up comedy or something. I mean, that's just an extreme example, right? But
yeah, I think putting yourself in spaces with people that you do know, that you don't know. I love using the term doing things that make you shit your pants. Like, always, there should be always something on the horizon that you're like, I really don't want to do that. That makes me, my hairs stand up on my skin, and I'm going to do it anyway. And then there will be a new thing that makes you shit your pants.
I think dancing is definitely one of those things where, especially when you're like in a group of, other dancers, other people, and like maybe you have to go up there and like kind of.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I got into dancing for a bit here, and yeah, that was definitely one of those times where I was like, man, I feel not scared, but it's just one of these things where it's like I don't really want to do this in front of all these people, right?
Yeah.
So that's a good example. Yeah, dancing. Well, how do you help people? Tell me a little bit more about your business and how you help other people.
Yeah. So I work right now in one-on-one spaces and also in group programs. So I do dance classes and I do teach, and I really like to think of it more as a dance experience more than it is a dance class, because I bring people in and I really focus on connection. So you can expect to come in and have to stare in somebody's eyes. We're going to do exercises where you may have to speak and not just dance, but there's a lot of feeling and emoting and expressing involved on top of learning choreography, because I think it's also really important to building that confidence. And then if somebody wants to work with me on a more intimate basis, I work with people in either a 3-month container or something that's a year long. I'm really interested in long-term clients right now. And I love seeing people come to me with a very specific goal. So sometimes it's like, okay, I'm a music artist and I've never danced, but I want to dance in my music video. And so that's our goal over that 2 or 3 month period. Or maybe it's that they have always dreamed of doing burlesque and they've just never been in the space where they feel like they can, make time for that in their life. Or maybe it's they want to explore their relationship with their body and food and understand, because I've had a lot of these issues in the past. Even though I've always loved my body through dance specifically, I think outside of dance, there was a lot of struggles that I can relate with people. So I always get on a call with somebody and I ask them, where are you feeling blocked in your life? Where do you think you could feel more empowered? And what's blocking you from getting that? And let's get you to the other side. I am a space holder more than anything. I'm there to ask powerful questions, not to give everybody all the answers, because I can listen and I can guide.
You can listen and you don't judge.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So do you have a studio, or how does that work with your business when you have, like, let's say, clients that are coming to you? How do you, where do you dance?
So I do online coaching. And for some of my local girlies, because not everybody's here, even in the United States, but for people who are here and want that consistent contact, we can go into a dance studio and work together. There's a lot of outings that we'll do. Like, I will take people in public and have a list of things that I want them to do that normally would make them feel really embarrassed, just to start opening them up if that's what they're seeking in their life. So there's a lot of opportunities for in-person as well.
Okay, cool. So you do online coaching,
yes,
and in-person one-on-one coaching.
Yes, absolutely. And right now, my signature program is something that's 12-week, and it's in-person and online.
Got you. And how do you promote your business? How do you get clients, or how do you let people know that, this is what you do?
Social media is probably the way that I reach the most people. And I have had people come to me, they're like, I met you 5 years ago at some open mic, and then I saw that you're doing this. So I'm always so surprised with social media, like the lengths that it goes. But also word of mouth is so powerful. So the people that I work with, will talk to their friends, and that's how it goes.
That's typically how it works, right? Like, just word of mouth and just letting people know. I think social media is a powerful tool, right, to let people know. Well, what's your target audience? Do you work with men too, or is it just strictly women?
I do work with men, but it's more rare for sure. I definitely would have to have like a sit down conversation and make sure that I'm the best fit. I'm not for everyone, and not everyone is for me. I typically work with women, and I work with women who are in their, I have clients who are as young as like 24 up to 60. And so there's a really wide range that I work with, and it really just depends on what goals they're trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. I mean, do you have your Instagram? You want to plug your Instagram right now?
Yes, sure.
So people know where to find you.
Yes. At Cristina Maria Florez, Cristina with no H.
You have a website?
I have my link tree on my Instagram, which has all of my offerings there. And then I have at Conquer Your Sexy as well.
Okay. Is that Instagram handle?
Yes.
Oh, check it out.
Yes.
So you've gone through some setbacks, right? In your
absolutely.
life. Yeah. So what advice would you give to people that are going through some setbacks right now? What advice would you give them to, like, overcome that? And, once they overcome that, just kind of keep going, moving forward.
Yeah. Well, actually, this makes me think of the 4 different types of confidence, because I think people, again, come to me and they're like, I'm going through something and I don't have enough confidence to get through it. I don't have enough energy. It's always like a feeling of lack that I think makes people feel.
That they're missing something.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's always going to be setbacks. So I think the first thing is recognizing that there's always going to be something going on in your life, and give yourself some grace Give yourself some grace. Give yourself a timeline for how long you want to give yourself grace. We can always give ourselves grace, but I like this, like whether it's a 5-minute timer or you want a whole week or you want a whole month to be like, I'm going to sit in my feelings. I'm going to be in this disempowered state and I'm going to sit in this and I'm going to give myself that because I need it. And then I'm not going to let it take over my life. So, you know, setting a timeline as to like how long you're going to let yourself be overwhelmed by that thing. And then bringing it back to those 4 types of confidence, you know, there's so many different ways that you can approach achieving something. One of them is sometimes perceived as cockiness because it seems like it's unwarranted, this unwarranted confidence. Like, who are you to think that you can do that? You've never done it. But sometimes we need that almost delusional quality to things to really go for things when nobody around you is saying that you can do something. And then another way, you can believe that efforts lead to results. And I think that is arguably the most effective way to have confidence, because even if you've never succeeded at that thing and you never overcome that thing, you can believe that you can do that task over time and become a master at it if you just show up.
Wonderful. You have this philosophy in life where less is more.
I do.
Yeah. So
yes.
Tell me a little bit more about that and what that means to you.
I think I used to chase opportunities. I used to chase people. And that has never served me. When I really look back, it has never served me to chase something that is not chasing me. And so I follow a less is more approach with my clients and also in my life, because I find that when I go a little bit more hands off, I can find that reciprocity and that bounce back of energy. And I can have somebody actually come back to me more full force with more accountability for themselves. I'm not trying to do any more work than the people that I'm in relation with, whether that's romantically, with friends. So I think simplicity is great. You don't want to overwhelm people. And it just allows for you to see how much work each side is putting in.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of your goals for 2025? Like for us personally and for your business, like what are some things you want to accomplish this year?
So one of the most exciting things I'm doing this year is I'm hosting a retreat, my first ever retreat, and that will be with all of my year-long clients. So that's going to be a beautiful experience where we really get to, again, like, because things are mostly online, I get to have all of our bodies in one space and move with them and dream with them and share space together. So that's one thing. On top of that, I, as an artist, am really looking to take all of my work to the next level. I act, I dance. I'm also starting to create more original work in the music space. And that's what's making me shit my pants right now. And I can't preach to people to do things to shit their pants if I'm not doing the same. So I want to show people what I can do in that space and release more original work.
Great. So this retreat that you spoke about, it's an in-person retreat that you're having with your clients?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about that. What made you come up with this retreat and having these people all kind of come together in one space?
Well, last year I attended my first retreat, and it was like a portal. For the 5 days that I was there, I first of all turned off my phone. I don't know since I've had a phone if I've ever turned off my phone for 5 days straight. Like I was the only woman out of everyone who did that. But I want people to give people a chance to disconnect. And again, there's something that is not replicable when you put people in a space together and actually have their bodies, being able to move and being able to look in person. I've seen communities build online and it is so powerful, but in person, I think it just gives people an opportunity to collapse time and do something in 3 to 5 days that they may have extended out over 6 months, a year, 3 years.
Where's this retreat going to be?
It's going to be here in California. It'll be local.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. And then this is going to be a place where people, it's only your clients, correct? It's not like someone could sign up to this.
I will be selling tickets on the side for my very first retreat. But right now, it is just my year-long clients. I will be probably announcing it about 2 months prior to, but it will be in July of this year.
Yeah. And what's something that you've done with your life or your business that's worked for you? And give me another example, something that you've done that has not worked for you. Because you seem like a kind of person that like tries different things, and if something does not work for you, you just kind of don't want to do that, and just kind of work with the things that do work for you. So give me an example if you can think of something that's
Yeah.
worked for you and something that's not worked for you.
Yeah. I would say what hasn't worked for me, to the point that we made earlier, is doing more than my client, overreaching. And, a lot of my first clients were my friends. And so I thought that doing the most was going to help them. And it actually is a disservice. And I would say on the side of what does work is, again, pulling back, less is more, simplicity, being able to connect with them on the level of whatever traumas. A lot of people that come to me have trauma that they've experienced. And I am trying to attract clients who want to do the work. And the reason why I mentioned the trauma piece is I think that at first I related to people because of all of the shit that I've been through. And I want to relate to people on that level, and also move towards more of the paradise than the pain side of things, and attract clients who are like, I want to be on the bright side.
Yeah. Well, everything you're doing sounds incredible. Is there anything else that you would want to say while we're still here? A message maybe to your people that look up to you, people that, watch your stuff, your clients?
Yeah, I think if I could have one last word, it would be that you got to move in order to get the confidence. It's not about having the confidence first. So take that first step. Really incremental, small pieces are going to build the confidence that you need to be the person who you want to become. And I think focusing on a to feel list, how do you want to feel and who do you need to be in order to get those gifts? We think about all of the success that we want, and we don't think about having the capacity to hold all of those gifts. So pray for that too.
Yeah. Well, that was incredible. Again, thanks for coming into the studio, Cristina. And give us again your Instagram and where people can find you one more time.
People can find me on Instagram at Cristina Maria Florez, Cristina without an H, Flores with a Z, and at Conquer Your Sexy.
Awesome. Well, there you have it, guys. Cristina Maria Florez. Gotta say the whole thing.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming. And guys, thanks for watching this episode. Make sure to subscribe and follow. And we'll catch you on the next one.